Good evening, everybody. We're back. Oh my God, it's been like a month. Jesus. This is
Feels so good.
yeah, reunited and it feels so good. What can I say? Guys, thank you so much for listening. This is Hunter here. I'm here with Scott. Scott, how you doing, sir?
I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm really good, man. And unlike for what we're going to talk about this movie, we are talking about. So before I kind of get into it, we're talking about Independence Day Resurgence, but can I just say it's been a bad summer for movies. Like it really hasn't been good at all. Really, it's been kind of bad. I mean, sorry, go ahead.
You expect to get the blockbusters to do a little bit better than they've been doing in the summer for sure. But then you're always going to have the, majority of the rest of the movies to be either just mediocre or just plain horrible. And there's just been, I have to agree with you. I feel like there's been, more than usual above average kind of shitty category that we like to refer to as, something like Independence Day that I felt like was supposed to be one of those movies that got kind of set up to be a blockbuster movie that it's coming back, and man, it disappointed.
Yeah, we gotta talk about it, man. Legend of Tarzan, that came and went, and that's only been out like a week. Alice Through the Looking Glass, that came and went. Warcraft, that came and went. The only things that really did well was Civil War, Secret Life of Pets, and then really, what else? I'm trying to even think, honestly.
What did you just see?
Batman v Superman, but even that didn't make what they expected it to. So,
right, exactly.
So it's just, overall, if your name isn't Disney, you have not been doing well.
It was kind of supposed to be, it was supposed to be DC's year, because they still have Suicide Squad coming out, and they really haven't, stepped up to the plate yet, 100%.
Well, you say that, and I agree. Like, they've done a great job with the advertising. I will totally give DC props on that. And also, right now, Hot Topic windows all throughout the U.S. are lined with Joker tees and Harley Quinn shirts. Well, I say that because I went to the mall today, and that whole window is Suicide Squad. Like, you can't, there's not even any pain left. It's just all Suicide Squad stuff. So, I think that'll do good for DC. But speaking of something that didn't do well, Independence Day Resurgence. This is 20 years after the original. So I consider it a classic. I know a lot of people don't, but
I do.
But for me, as cheesy as the first one is, and Lord knows it is. From the point where Will Smith punches an alien and says "Welcome to Earth," it's like you kind of know what kind of movie you're watching. But man, do I love that first movie. Bill Pullman's speech about Independence Day, I was like, hell yeah, Bill Pullman, I'd fight for you too. Like there is just as cheesy as most of the dialogue is, there is just something about that movie, and outside of just Will Smith and making him the star he is today.
That's what I thought too, and I thought the same thing. And then I watched this movie, and I was like, you know what? Maybe it was just because Will Smith was in this.
So you know what? Say what you will about Will Smith. He has obviously been struggling in recent years. But man, this movie needed him. This movie needed him.
That was one of the best versions of Will Smith that you're ever going to see outside of Men in Black.
Yeah, very true. But all I was sitting there the whole time thinking was, Will Smith needs to be in this. Will Smith needs to be
I know,
in this.
right?
And
it's
a glaring black hole that black hole. It's a glaring. I know, but it's a glaring negative for this movie. So very quickly to go over the plot, because there's not a whole lot to go over. But basically, it's been 20 years since the original attack, so it's in real time. Basically, we've been able to merge alien technology with our technology, because sure, and, and just as unrealistic, there's like no like war in the world now. Like everyone's just happy, it's just hunky dory, and everyone's holding hands, and everyone loves it, but everyone loves everybody. So basically, the aliens come back. They have a bigger mothership this time. There's this MacGuffin that ends up helping us that we need to protect. This movie's dumb. Can I just say
if you want to know what happens in this movie, just think about the last movie and then take away Will Smith and age everybody 20 years.
And take away, like, the good dialogue. That was
exactly.
Because I'm going to tell you right now, Scott, this is on the list this year. It's so on the list. There's no way it's escaping the list. I was sitting there in this movie. So I saw this at like 5 o'clock on a Saturday. So I had just gotten off work because I worked an overtime shift. So I was tired. So honestly, I was sitting there and I was like, all right, my expectations are so low. Like, you should be able to at least get a C- out of me. And Scott, that movie made me wake up just because I got so fucking angry watching that movie. I couldn't believe it, man. This movie is... This is Gulliver's Travels bad. This is the Heartbreak Kid remake bad. This is borderline 50 Shades of Grey bad. I hated this movie. And I'm going to tell you the two of the main reasons. Liam Hemsworth, stop making movies. I want you to go away so badly. Even your brother's not good at making movies when he doesn't have a hammer in his hand. You need to stop making movies. You're terrible. God help you. I just want you to leave me alone and stop doing things. He was in... Let me just read you a couple of the great films he did. So, Hunger Games... Whatever, I don't like this movie anyway. He did this movie called Paranoia, which me and you will have to review. You haven't even heard of Paranoia, have you?
I think I have heard of it. But
oh, have you?
I'm not really familiar with the plot.
Yeah, it's him, Harrison Ford, and Gary Oldman, and it's a 6% on Rotten Tomatoes, if that tells you anything. It is a horrible movie. He was also in the classic The Expendables 2. He was the hunk in The Last Song. He just made a bunch of really crappy movies across the board. So Scott, what did you think of this before I just go off? Go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, my biggest problem was that there was zero creativity, and that I felt like I knew the entire story as it was playing out. Another thing that just really bugged me for some reason was that Jeff Goldblum was this main character who was not... He just doesn't have the makeup to be this kind of rah-rah main character that's gonna, bring the aliens to justice and make important speeches. And it was the same movie with worse actors. And I mean, everybody loves Jeff Goldblum. I mean, my favorite part of the last movie was him just being weird scientist guy, and I feel like he just wasn't right for this role. But it was, you got the mothership coming in and trying to destroy Earth exactly like the last time. You have the son of Will Smith, try to go in with his plane inside the mothership again. And it's like, at least come up with something new, like at least show me that you tried. Am I wrong?
So here's my thing. I actually like Jeff Goldblum in this. I know that probably surprises you, but at this point,
I didn't dislike him in it. I just he couldn't help out the movie any. He wasn't like a main character that I wanted to be behind.
Oh, well, I'll tell you right now, I'd be behind Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah,
yeah, what? but I mean, well, Jeff Goldblum, I love him as an actor. He was on Will and Grace for a while, and I loved him on that. I realized just after talking about wanting to fuck Jeff Goldblum, that going to Will and Grace probably isn't the best.
Park.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
that's Jeff Goldblum.
Yeah, I know. Jeff Goldblum shirtless. Whew, okay, all right, I got to stop. I'm sorry. But Jeff Goldblum's awesome, and he does have really good comedic timing, and I will say he just didn't... I thought he was okay, but it's because the dialogue they gave him was so bad. But he was working with very little, so I almost give him a pass on this.
He was not the reason this movie was bad. That's for sure. I'll say that.
Yeah. So one thing I will say though, Liam Hemsworth is atrocious. And this new dude, Jesse T. Usher, who plays Dylan, who is Will Smith's character's son. Oh my God! You want to talk about God Almighty, man? You want to talk about someone who just sucked ass through a straw? This kid cannot act at all. No, There are porn actors who would be like, wow, you were a shitty actor. He was terrible in this movie. There's this line that I just face-palmed. And I'll tell you right now, this is the point where I went, the movie's over. It's not going to get better. That line just kind of, where he's like, it's the 4th of July. Let's show him some fireworks. And I was like, oh my God in heaven. And Scott, I won't even lie. I told you, I face-palmed and I just went, ugh. And the movie legitimately got worse from there somehow. And the dumb reason they have for Dylan, his character, and Jake, Liam Hemsworth's character, for their beef, like, it's the most, like, shoehorned in, like, really, like, ridiculous reason. So by the time, and the movie kind of plays it like a mystery, so when the movie reveals it, I was like, oh, that's why. And then they won't stop talking about it. It's like, hey, I forgave you, but I'm going to keep bringing it up over and over again. And then there's this girl, Patricia Whitmore, who's Bill Pullman, the president, Thomas Whitmore's daughter, who looks like a reject from a Transformers movie. She was the one girl who wouldn't give Michael Bay a blowjob. So it's like, well, you don't get to be in Transformers movie. And she's in this. And by the way, Scott, did you know that's not the original actress, like, from the like the little girl from the movie? That actress who originally, was her, was a little kid. This is an actress named Mae Whitman, who actually is in Scott Pilgrim. She's awesome in that. She's in The Perks of Being a Wallflower, and she's in that movie The Duff that we saw. She's the Duff, and I'm gonna tell you right now,
she is totally the Duff.
I'm going to tell you right now, Mae Whitman, she's an amazing actress. I think she's absolutely fucking talented. She's gorgeous. She can actually deliver a line. And this girl was terrible. When they're telling you, like, she's a fighter pilot, she's a badass, I'm like, there is no goddamn way that this girl is any of the things that you were trying to shove down my throat. And the movie keeps, like, poking you, like, come on, like, you buy it, right? And it's like, no. And then, oh, God. Scott, I'm gonna tell you right. No, seriously, I'm sitting here trying to think of things I liked, and
the only thing, I mean, it's like they just threw a bunch of money at the CG, like is beginning to happen more and more nowadays, and they just said fuck it with the story and gave it to some writer who hasn't done this before apparently, and then it's like people will come see it because it's Independence Day, and doesn't matter what it is, they're gonna get those first tickets, those opening day tickets, opening weekend tickets, and, they got money for it. And that's what it just feels like to me. It just feels kind of like a little bit emotionless, kind of heartless movie.
So the original budget, for the first Independence Day was $75 million. The budget for this Independence Day was $165, and I'm going to tell you right now, the first movie looked better. I couldn't believe how bad the ships, the aliens, everything looked so bad in this movie. There's this point where you see these X-wing fighters. Our U.S. fighters, whatever they're called, like fly up towards the moon with like the U.S. flag, and it looks so fake. I couldn't.
Did you see this in 3D?
I didn't actually.
Okay, I didn't either.
I just saw this in standard, just standard and
standard D.
Yeah, standard D. Give the girl some. What are you gonna give the girl? Some standard D, but
I'm thinking a little bit of the standard D tonight.
Yes, but watching this movie, man, Roland Emmerich, pardon me. He's done some movies I actually enjoy. He did 2012, which is just fun. He did Day After Tomorrow. He did a movie I love. He did A White House Down. I fucking love that movie. He did
Well, that list is not impressing me. I'm sorry.
No. That's fine. You be the hater, but and then
I'm
he
not
did.
hating. White House Down is not considered for me to be like a big notch in your belt.
But to go ahead and flip the script, he's done some really bad movies like Universal Soldier, that Godzilla remake with Ferris Bueller, which was not very good. He produced this movie called The 13th Floor, which I can almost guarantee no one has seen but me, which is absolutely terrible. He did Eight-Legged Freaks. If that tells you anything, do you remember that movie?
I sort of like that one. That was scary, but it was a bad movie, but it was like a kind of a creepy bad movie.
He did 10,000 BC, which is one of my least favorite movies of all time, with David Arquette.
Is that the guy that was like running?
Oh no, this is the one with like the caveman and it has that really crappy looking saber-tooth tiger. Yeah, he's done some bad movies, but it felt like he was legitimately just bored doing this movie. He was just like, I don't care, whatever. Like, oh, you're giving me $165 million goddamn dollars. It's like, oh, sure, I'll just stumble through this. And there were, let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4. There were 6 writers on this movie. 6 writers, and none of them collectively could make a better movie than what we got. It's truly remarkable. And I'm not even going over all the things that I hate in this movie. There's a point where you're halfway through the movie, and the movie keeps introducing characters like every scene, like supporting characters to a point where there's like 12 subplots going on, and you're sitting there thinking, how are you going to tie this all up? And spoiler alert, they don't.
They spend so little time on each character that you feel nothing for them. It's like they go through certain scenes that are supposed to be really tense, and by the time you get to them, and it gets to it, and then it switches to another scene, it's like there was no build-up. There was like, there's a part when like he goes to reach for her hand so that she doesn't fall out of the helicopter or whatever, and it's over in like 10 seconds. It's like, where's the build-up? Where's the emotion? There's no development in the characters, so who gives a shit what happens to them in the end?
Yeah, the biggest thing about this movie that just made me just shake my head is Vivica A. Fox, Jasmine, who's Dylan's mom. The way they kill her off is just like blink and you'll miss it. And then the movie kind of goes like, oh, well, she's dead. That sucks, doesn't it? And it cuts, and that was the one point, Scott, where I thought the movie might go, all right, we're going to let Dylan, show off, like, how angry he is, and he'll use that as motivation to take down the aliens. And they couldn't even do that. Like, he just kind of goes like, he's like, bites his lip like, my mom's dead. It's almost like he's getting off on it, like, my mom's dead, just like, like.
I couldn't tell if she grabbed a hold or not. Like, I couldn't, as I was watching it, I couldn't tell. So for like the 5 minutes after that, I couldn't tell if she was alive or not until they like said something about it, and I was like, so she didn't make it? I don't get it.
Yeah, all I was thinking was, man, like, you couldn't have given her a better death. Even Bill Pullman, when Thomas Whitmore dies, which, okay, if you really didn't see that coming, oh yeah, I guess you should have said, believe me, we're saving you money right now. We're not ruining anything that.
This is one of those movies that I was like, it was hard for me to pay for it. Like, personally, as a movie reviewer, like, I enjoy going to the movies, but it was like, sometimes it's too personal where you're giving away your money, your hard-earned money to a box office, and it's like it's almost $15 these days. So especially if you're seeing a 3D movie, but this one was tough. This one was tough to get through.
Scott, I about had a heart attack when I went up. So I saw the movie like at 5 o'clock after work, like I mentioned, and the lady's like, "Oh, it's gonna be 10:50." I was like, 10:50. I'm like, are you like man, I almost feel like in the Wesley Snipes, like, motherfucker, what are you talking about? Like I was like,
this is when you contemplate just double dipping and just going to a movie you want to see and then just hitting this one up after, you know.
Oh man, it's so true. This movie is just, and all I was sitting there thinking was, man, you could have done this so much better. Like, someone could have given a little bit of a shit, and yet between 6 writers, they couldn't get this done. Okay, the last thing before we get to final thoughts, the way they set this up for a sequel, Scott, my jaw was on the floor. I could not believe the way they're like practically turned, looked at the screen, winked at you, and said, "Are you ready for part 3?" And I was like, "No, I'm not ready for part 3. I don't want you guys to even. I don't want you guys to do a YouTube movie, let alone a live action like full movie." I couldn't believe how this movie ends, and even the people around me kind of looked around like, "Wait, is that it? Like, that's how it's ending?" This movie's horrible, man. And just getting to my final thoughts, I hate this movie. I really do. I hate this on the same level as 50 Shades of Grey. And the reason I do is because they took something, unlike 50 Shades of Grey, they took something that had promise, that had a following, that was really revered by a lot of people. And just like Zoolander 2, it was like the director was like, and honestly, Scott, I had that Zoolander 2 feeling for all of this whole movie. Just thinking, man, you guys really didn't care. You knew you could squeeze some money out. This movie feels like it was chopped to the bone just because if they did it that way, they could squeeze in more screenings to go ahead and squeeze more people out of their hard-earned $10, $50, or $15 or whatever you're paying. I hate this movie. This is a go fuck yourself. Every single person who's associated with this movie should really be ashamed of themselves. No, I'm not. You laugh, Scott. There's no joke here.
I don't think you're joking. It's just you're just hilarious.
Because look, wasting your money, yeah, it sucks. But wasting my time. Mm-hmm. That really pisses me off. I could be getting caught up on Game of Thrones, or watching Archer,
or reading a book, or like doing anything with your life, really.
Or playing Pokemon Go. Like, I could be doing,
oh gosh.
I could be doing all of these things that are better than what I had to sit through. So yeah, this is a go fuck yourself. Scott, go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't.
Oh, here we go.
I know. I just didn't. It was a bad movie, but it didn't make me angry, and it didn't hurt me as much as Zoolander did. Zoolander 2 did. But it just seemed really lazy. Just like a super lazy movie that threw a bunch of money at the CG for little effect. And I just thought it was really dumb. It was just, this is a straight to USA TNT movie. You're going to see this on those channels every Sunday. You know what I'm saying? Like, this is like less. I don't even know if this is Redbox worthy, but I thought it was dumb, so I'm just gonna give it a big old D.
There you go. All right. I was like, if you gave it a C,
oh no.
I was about to lose my mind. So, okay, good. I'm happy to hear that. But yeah, guys, this movie, it's gonna be on my list just because I left the theater and I was upset. Like, I was really legitimately upset. And so I went and got an awful, which, if you don't know, that
good. Makes everybody feel better.
Yeah, so it made me feel bad. Oh, and one thing I did forget to mention, Brent Spiner, as a scientist, Dr. Brackish, God, they gave him so much to do in this movie, and he's annoying. Mm-hmm. He's so annoying.
He was kooky and like kind of quirky in the last one. Like, I remember that guy. He was funny, and they shove him down your throat in this one.
Yeah, like
even like, I'm sorry, but they make him talk like again, actually I don't know if it's him. I think they make one or the other, but they do the exact same thing where they have the alien talk through the human.
Yeah,
they make other human. It's this movie is exactly the same. Like, they're so lazy.
It's exactly the same, but it's not even close as good as the first one. So you know, to compare it, this is Jurassic Park 3 to the original Jurassic Park. That's what this is.
Yeah.
and if you people go, if a lot of people go like, what was Jurassic 3 about again? Exactly. You don't even remember Jurassic
No
Park
one
3
remembers Jurassic
because that's how bad Jurassic Park 3 was. But guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll have reviews up this week for Daredevil, Daredevil season 1 and 2, and we'll have a review up for Ghostbusters.
Finding Dory.
Well, yeah, we're gonna do that right now. So.
All right. Well, they should listen.
Well, yeah, they should listen. You can subscribe to us here on SoundCloud at The Real Pineapple 775. You can like us on Facebook at The Real Pineapple. You can follow yours truly on the Twitter at JHunterRealPineapple. And you can follow Mr. Scott Neerman on Twitter at
Newman the First.
Guys, thank you so much for listening. We'll talk to you soon.
Peace.
Oh my God.